Ja, hier sind wir vor unserer christlich-evangelischen Schule, der ersten evangelischen Schule in freier Trägerschaft in Kroatien. Das ist unser Schild quasi hier der Schule in Čakovec, und wir arbeiten, da wir ja auch einen medizinischen Bereich abdecken. Die Hälfte ist eben auch Pflegeausbildung, und arbeiten auch zusammen mit der medizinischen Fakultät in Osijek. Ja, über 450 junge Menschen sind hier, plus über ca. 50 Menschen im Wohnheim, und wir haben neuerdings auch noch 6 Klassen, 8 Schülerinnen und Schülern, die mit Down-Syndrom hier unterrichtet werden. Sodass also mit den 90 Voll- und Teilzeitkräften im Lehrbereich und sonst darüber hinaus im Wohnbereich und im technischen Bereich hier täglich plus minus 600 plus Menschen unterwegs sind.
Und ich komme in Kroatien. Ich habe 31 Jahre. Ich arbeite Mode. Ich arbeite in Deutschland für 7 Jahre vor mit deutschen Mann in Firma, und ich lerne Deutsch.
Also ich wurde von Radovan eingelernt, hier diese Gipsplatten zu verfugen mit Spachtelmasse. Ist auch keine schwere Aufgabe, aber man braucht durchaus ein bisschen Geschick und vor allem das richtige Werkzeug. Moment. Also zuerst kommt dieses selbstklebende Gitternetz drauf. Das bindet die Fugen zusammen und hält die Spachtelmasse dann fest. Im nächsten Schritt kommt dann die Spachtelmasse drauf und kittet einfach die Fugen zu. Das sieht im ersten Moment relativ einfach aus, aber man darf keine Unebenheiten hinterlassen. und vor allem ist diese Spachtelmasse in etwa einer halben Stunde fest geworden. Das heißt, man sollte sich beeilen, sonst muss man ständig Spachtelmasse nachproduzieren. Okay.
My name is Enoch Sheba, and I work as an assistant professor and also as a secretary of the institution, which is a theological institution, which is a part of University of Zagreb here in Croatia. This is the only theological institution in the surrounding area and in countries that does Protestant theology on the university level. At the moment we have around 30 students, and quite a number of them come from different Protestant churches. Quite often they are more experienced students who already have their university education, but are interested in getting further education, and especially something that can help them to enhance their involvement in their local churches. They are sometimes involved in different ways in leadership, in local leadership, and they want to become more equipped for the service they do in their local churches.
Hello everybody, my name is Ilma and we are currently in the community center in Sarajevo, Kompas 071. We are a daily community center where people on the move, refugees and migrants can come here to take a shower, do their laundry, take some NFI, have a warm drink and socialize with us. We are here for 2 years now and I'm here from the very beginning. We had different stages in the center, from, I don't know, having 100 people per day to having 5 people per day, and now where we have 40 to 50 people per day. Yeah, it's depending on the move of the people and also about the season. 2019 was somehow changing point for me. At that time in Sarajevo, in the capital, there was a lot of people on the street. We had, you could basically on every traffic light see people who are selling tissues and begging some money to survive. At that point I organized some groups of people, my friends from university, to gather some money to buy some food or to make some tea and take it out to the people on the street. And this is how you step by step start to network with the other people who are doing the same thing. After some time I managed Ines, who is president of our association and who was also working on the street voluntarily and independently from any organization. And she got this idea to open center like this because at that point there was a lot of people outside the camps who were staying in the squats, in so-called hostels, in the private accommodations, who didn't have opportunity to wash their laundry or to take shower. So we got this idea, and from that we are here. I think it's important that we show solidarity for those who are in need, not just because we are pity them, but also because we truly believe that everybody should have a right to seek safety from whichever reason. And also there is a political context behind all this migration, because not these people are not moving because they are bored in their homes, in their homelands. They are really in need, they are suffering from this or that reason, and yes, we should show them solidarity and show them that everybody can seek a refugee. In my bachelor's, I was studying Turkish language and literature, and for my master's I moved a bit to journalism. I'm still officially a student. I didn't finish my master thesis. I'm trying to write it, but it's very complex. And since I'm in Kompas here, most of my time I dedicated to here. I'm here every day, and this is mostly what I do. Besides that, I'm also kind of involved about environment protection in Bosnia. I'm part of the groups where we are foresting the mountains, and we are also cleaning the cities and the rural areas of the cities. Besides that, I'm mostly involved in the migration. And I think once you're in this topic, it's hard to go out. I can talk from the perspective of Bosnia, because Bosnia has very complex asylum seeking procedure. Almost nobody is getting the asylum here, even if you are from a country where war is happening, or I don't know from where. It's very hard to get asylum here. I think we are even more complicated than America. And this is also because of the complex political situation of Bosnia. For example, half of the country, Republika Srpska in Bosnia, doesn't want to be involved in migration at all. They say, okay, this is issue of Federation of Bosnia and you deal with this. This is not our migrants or refugees, so you know. And maybe if I had any kind of power, I would probably change this, so we can, as a country, try to find the solution. So we don't have EU giving us advices, okay, you should do this, or not just advices, even like they are ordering us, you have to do it like this and you have to do it like that. for example, all the camps in Bosnia are not run by Bosnian government, they are run by IOM. You know, we don't need international organizations to show us what we need to do and how we should deal with the people who are here. We should, from our context, from our experience, deal with it. But unfortunately, due to complex political situation and complex, not just complex, but very corrupted government, we are not able to do it. And here in Bosnia, local people are suffering from different kind of being unprotected by the country, by the state. So you cannot expect more for the people on the move here who have no rights. Yeah. I've met a lot of people from Western Europe who would come here, very young people, who would come here with sayings that they are here to break borders or whatever. I think that nobody should break borders. We should do our best to improve conditions in our local community, to do what we can do, because nobody can break borders. Tried to put any kind of pressure to your government. Try to understand that migration is a natural need of human being. We were migrating from very beginning of our existence, and it will always happen. Maybe not like this, maybe not like that, but it will always happen, and it's normal. Europe or any kind of continent shouldn't be only white or only Christian or only brown or only black or only Muslim or I don't know what. I think we are here all on the earth for a reason. We are different, and I think diversity can only improve our societies and can enrich our societies, and we should not run away from it, and we should not fall into this perils of right wing that, I don't know, the Europe is a garden and we should protect it while the rest of the world is a jungle, or you know, this kind of racist, I would say, statements. And yes, what kind of support we need here? We are always suffering with some specific items like shoes, backpacks and sleeping bags, jackets as well, and anything that could help and be very practical to the people who are on the move. So yeah, if you want to help us, we are here.
Hallo, ich bin die Fabienne, gehört zur Organisation Catch a Smile, aus Luxemburg sind wir. Wir sind hier in Sarajevo und zwar im Zentrum von Kompass 071. Das ist eine Tagesstätte in Sarajevo, die seit über 2 Jahren den Menschen anbietet, dass sie sich hier duschen können, sie können ihre Wäsche machen, sie können einfach relaxieren, einen Tee trinken, sie kriegen NFI, das heißt sowohl Kleidung als Schuhe, sie haben einen Shop hier, wo die Leute das alles holen können. Ja. Die EU schottet an sich ab und gibt die Verantwortung, die sie an sich hat, ab, indem sie die Grenzen komplett zumacht. Wir sind jetzt hier in Bosnien und die EU finanziert sehr viel in Bosnien, damit die Leute hier blockiert sind. Die EU finanziert sehr viel in die Türkei, damit die Leute dort blockiert sind, oder in andere oder Libyen. Die EU hat aber ihre Mitverantwortung zu dem Ganzen. Und ja, was wir alle fragen und was nicht passiert, ist dieses Safe Passage. Es kann nicht sein, dass wir Leute haben, die aus Kriegsgebieten kommen, Tausende von Euros zahlen müssen an Schmuggler, ganz gefährliche Wege gehen, wo sie riskieren, verletzt zu werden, wo sie riskieren, getötet zu werden, zu ertrinken, in Menschenhandel zu kommen, ob das jetzt Kinder ist, ob das jetzt Frauen sind, ob das jetzt Handel mit Körperteilen ist. Das heißt, das Risiko von dieser ganzen ist extrem hoch und wird, weil es kein Safe Passage gibt, mit gefördert.
Warum ist die Situation gerade hier in Bosnien ein bisschen kompliziert?
An sich ist die Situation nicht kompliziert, aber nicht von der bosnischen Seite aus. aber von der Grenze aus. Man muss wissen, dass Bosnien eine Grenze von fast 900 Kilometern hat zu Kroatien und die Leute halt durch Bosnien gehen, um in Kroatien wieder in einem EU-Land und jetzt mittlerweile im Schengen-Raum, gratuliere Kroatien, um weiterzukommen, um dann in ein Land zu kommen, wo sie Asyl anfragen können. Das Problem mit Kroatien ist, dass die ganz viele Pushbacks machen. Das seit Jahren. Es ist dokumentiert in tausenden Berichten. Es ist bewiesen, es ist gefilmt, es ist, alles gibt's, aber es wird weiterhin gemacht und es wird weiterhin toleriert von der EU. Also ich finde, man soll nicht judgen, also ja, warum jemand geht und warum Menschen flüchten, hat vielerlei Gründe. Und es muss einfach möglich sein, dass ein Safe Passage, dass Leute auf legalem Weg flüchten können, aus welchen Gründen auch immer. Das kann Krieg sein, das kann auch politisch sein, das kann viele Ursachen haben. Und so wie es im Moment ist es unmöglich. Wir haben Tausende von Leuten, die im Mediterranischen Meer ertrinken. Wir haben andere Wege und das kann nicht sein. Also es muss eine Lösung kommen und die Grenzen müssen geöffnet werden. So einfach.
I'm originally from Croatia, but I'm serving in Bosnia and Herzegovina for past 25 years, and I'm serving as a pastor and the leader of the local church and leader of the Baptist Union and also of the Evangelical Alliance. And it's a joy being in this country, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Mm-hmm. Yes, we are now sitting in a place called Cairo Center, and the center is here because we want to reach out to society, to people of Sarajevo. So yes, church work and pastoral work is part of it, but also there are other things that are my passion and also the reason why we are here. And normally we have, of course, church services, prayer meetings, youth meetings, ladies meetings, Bible studies and things, but also we are often doing street evangelism. We are doing English language classes, creative workshops, business trainings, humanitarian work, refugee work. We want to be alive, that's what we like. To be lots of noise, lots of people coming through, receiving guests, accommodating conferences, youth conferences, you name it. Yes, I get to know Johannes, I believe, first time when I was student in Osijek in theological seminary, and he came to teach missions, and that was probably the beginning of his time in Croatia, right in the war or after the war. And then a few years later, my wife Lydia and myself, we were in Sarajevo to replant the church that was here and also help with the humanitarian aid and other ministries. So we started partnering together with Hilfe, konkret. I think the big thing that happened was when there was a NATO bombing of Serbia and also Kosovo war, and people from Kosovo and Sanjak were here. It was a huge number, I believe it was around 1 million. And the government did coordination because they just couldn't manage. There was so much So they called all the churches asking if there is humanitarian program or something, and we responded, got to the coordination meetings, end up receiving 6,000 IDs to cover 6,000 people to come for food packages and clothes and other items that we would give out. We were renting a huge storage just on the outskirts of Sarajevo. It was a huge project, and Hilfe, Konkret and Johannes, they provided a lot of help, and of course also European Baptist and the Baptist World Alliance and some of the other partners, but yeah, Hilfe, Konkret was probably the largest partner. Yeah, the challenge in the beginning was that there was really nothing done by the government, and it's a complex political situation in Bosnia, and we have two entities, Federation and Republic of Srpska, then we have District Brčko, and then 3 members of presidency and different political parties, and it's just not easy to unite in decision what needs to be done, and that also affected the refugee situation, because some of the parts would like to be very friendly and receiving refugees, some don't want refugees at all. Typically, Republic of Srpska says that's not our problem. They immediately send people to Federation. Then there are 2 hotspots, Sarajevo and Bihać area, and sometimes it's not easy. And it took some time for government to decide how and what should be done. For example, at the very beginning, every refugee was going to the Office for Foreigners to register and give attention for asylum. That's the first paper you would need to be doing. And I still remember they are sitting outside of the fence, and we are bringing sandwiches and water, and they're waiting for hours. Sometimes they had to overnight because they couldn't be received the same day. And then, of course, later government improved, and they moved the office to the refugee camp, or refugee camps more precisely. They had the registration office in each camp, so that the thing can be done at the entrance there. But that's just a small example how slow and how complicated things are. And of course, sometimes, but it's a personal impression, I think that the government didn't like refugees to get very comfortable. It is very easy. So they were not really in favor of anybody who was really providing a good help, because they thought if there is not good help, they would realize that it's hard here and they will move through faster. And many of the NGOs and the foreign volunteers faced issues with the Office for Foreigners, and some were expelled. And one of the things that the Office for Foreigners decided at the end is you cannot really help refugees and serve as a tourist. So if you have a right to stay here as a tourist for 90 days, they don't want you to be working, volunteering in these 90 days. And some of my friends that we worked with, they were expelled because they find them at the spot when they were helping, and they said, "Oh, you're working and you don't have a working visa." And they said, "No, we are just giving this out, or we are just drinking coffee." They said, No, you cannot do this. And so now when we have volunteers who want to help, we start the process of visa, and then as soon as you're in the process, you get the paper that the visa is coming out, and then you can start volunteering. And the numbers were up and down. Usually in the winter, number of refugees is more stable. In the summer, they are more going for game, and so the approximate stay in the refugee camps during the nice weather is very short. Could be 2-3 days only, and it's just constantly people coming in, just refreshing, resting, getting some food, sleep, and then they continue. But in the winter, they can stay longer, and especially if they have kids and the parents want kids to attend the school, they will stay until the school year is over, and then they'll give another attempt to go for a game. And so, yeah, there are many needs. It's kind of basic stuff are more or less covered in the camps. I mean, there will be some meal, morning, noon, and evening. But when you come to deeper when you want to really have some life. You cannot be just sitting around. Then they need education. It's very important. Some training, some language skills. Kids need some entertainment, something valuable, something that will contribute to their development. So there are many areas that are not covered because they are not so basic. But those who are not in camps, for them everything is a struggle. Food is a struggle. They need food, they need clothes, they need shoes. For example, right now it's snowing in Sarajevo, and many don't have a good shoes for snow. And often we would meet refugees in the winter coming in flip-flops, like going to beach, and then finally they would receive shoes if we are able to provide this. But also, when you think, if you are somewhere for a long time, you don't want to just eat rice and potato. And they do need, and often we brought like a fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. Our kids want candies, they're kids. Many times we brought to Camp Pushibak, for example, just candies and chocolates and juice. Something when they are playing and they are preparing for school that they can a little bit feel like a child, like a human. Not just receiving so much basic, and that's it. Oh yeah, there are people around the church, or church members, but also church friends. People who have refugee work on the heart, they like to help. And we have a very positive experience with church people getting involved when they have time. But I was pleasantly surprised with people from neighborhood, just seekers who came to church sometimes. But then they find out about what we are doing among refugees, and they wanted to help in serving. And many of them help for free. They just give them time. And yeah, generally people in Sarajevo and also people in Bosnia and Herzegovina are very warm and very friendly. It's not normal in Sarajevo that somebody would freeze to death. That will not happen. Somebody will somehow provide something. Never heard of somebody dying out of hunger here, because people do have heart. And maybe part of it is because these people suffered a lot. There was war in Bosnia, many Bosnians were refugees themselves, and they know how it feels. They know what it means to be hungry. They know what it feels to not have proper clothes and stuff. And so they are very sympathetic. Yes, I was a refugee. I was living with my parents in East Slavonia. My hometown is Vinkovci, and I was a matter of attack for a long time. My hometown had a nickname Gate of Croatia. But only 15 kilometers air distance is Vukovar, and people are more familiar with Vukovar and disaster that happens, and many people being killed, and Vukovar falling under occupation. And when we were too long without water and food and constantly under shooting and shelling, I decided I'm way too tired. I cannot continue like that. So I went to Germany, to my family, to my aunt, spent several months there. So I also gained experience. What does it mean to be a refugee? And yeah, I think that plays a role in my heart also, working with refugees around here. It's not easy. These people don't go just because they are bored at home. In many of these places there is war happening, there is a real critical situation. Some of the countries of origin of refugees, maybe political system is so harsh that the people just cannot see their future under regime. Different refugees have different reasons why they start their way. But it's not just because they want some adventure. Sometimes people think, oh, they can live at home. But most of these cases, when you start conversation, you find out that really they're suffering. Yes, of course, what we are doing is larger than us, larger than our personnel possibility, but also larger than our financial possibility. Of course, locally we like also to give, and we like to provide them as much as we can. But we depend also on the support from outside for finances to be able to buy things for the refugees, to provide food, to provide clothes, to provide shoes. often we find out it's cheaper actually to get things locally than to import, because in these days, of course, everybody knows about energy crisis and the gasoline is very expensive and transport is ridiculously expensive. So often it's cheaper to get things locally and just prepare them and give it to refugees rather than trying to collect something and import. And so that's what we are doing. As much as we can receive, we'll use it and give it out. But also volunteers are very helpful if we can have people coming and serving alongside of us, because of course we can always use more hands and more help in achieving any of this, refugee work, evangelism, you name it. There's so much to do. And praise God, we do have this capacity of Cairo Center so that we can accommodate some of the refugees, some of the volunteers, and we can organize things around here. Youth groups would be perfect. We like working with youth groups. It's so nice to have people who are young, with energy. They can gain new experience, and it will be a blessing for them, but it will be also very much a blessing for us, because the job will be done. And so, yes, we very much enjoy youth groups. Also, of course, individuals and small groups occasionally. Yes, volunteers are so much needed.
You got to eat your vegetables. Do you hear me? You got to eat your vegetables. Tell him that. You got to eat your vegetables.
Ajmo vidjeti dalje. Drugi zadatak.
Well, I'm Michał Kreko, pastor of Baptist Church Zagreb Malešnica, and I'm also the leader of House of Hope, as we call this center. I was always thinking as a pastor how to link church with the community, and what it means to be church in a city like Zagreb. I have began one of the bigger project in 2004, which is on that wall over there, called Mosaic 21, which has, and worked on it about 12 years, but I hit all the corruption that you can imagine in the city, so I had to stop with this. And then in 2015, as I was passing by this house, I saw it all in ruins. I said, what it would be if we took the responsibility to repair this and turn it to something helpful for the local community. And in that way, I started to work with the leaders of local community and got a permission first from them that yes, if you want to do this, we allow you. And with this permission, then I went to higher levels of government, and that was the beginning. Well, we have a history of working with refugees. 1991, when war started in Balkans, this area, we had Zagreb was full of refugees from Bosnia, Serbia, and so on. We had in this area there is a theater. Theater was turned into a operation center where we led and were caring for about 1,200 families, feeding them and so on. There were mixed marriages that that were affected by, because suddenly after fall of communism they discover what kind of faith. She is Roman Catholic and he is a Muslim, and that created a tension so the marriages were jeopardized. So in cooperation and in touch with the European Union and with the United States and Canada, they developed a program to secure marriages, and then through us we have been helping those marriages to move and live outside. If I remember properly, about 200,000 people were replaced then from Bosnia and so on. So we gained there some experience working with refugees, and when 2015 we had a new humanitarian crisis, the Asian, so-called the Asian refugees movement. I guess God said, who are going to do this? How you have experience, you take it. So 2015 we started to accept people on the borders and so on, and we were heavily involved in those that were here at the center for the international protection, helping people, to present their case in a proper way. Many of them were interested to get their international protection, thinking if they are believers, they will get it easier. So they got very interested in church and so on. So you know yourself more about it as well. So quite a bit of people passed through, and they are still here. We are proud that we see some of them speaking our language, then working, studying, got married. Soon some of them are going to have kids that are going to be born here. So there are some fruit of our labor that we say, okay, really all the efforts was much and so on, but there are individual fruit that we are rejoicing in. And then we had a third, as of last February, we had a third invasion of refugees. These were from Ukraine. And we were not planning that at all, but it simply appeared. And we had here a full house of Ukrainians also helping, but this was a bit different because Croatia was more sympathetic to Ukrainians than to Asians, and so it went just with much ease than the Asian refugees. With Asian refugees, there was quite a bit of challenge with local community. This local community didn't want to have anything to do with Asian, with Muslims and so on. And there was rivalry, there was opposition. They were writing letters to government that House of Hope should not operate because of. So we didn't want to publicize but we were heavily publicized before even we opened. So that the Croatian television was interested into our story, so that whole Croatia knew about. But when we are in crisis, people are thinking they will never finish this house, So that the television got interested in this kind of crisis, And then we got caught by European Union the problem of how you relate new neighbors to a local community. And this was a story that was chosen and was then shown in 22 countries of European Union, and documentary was chosen as one of the best documentary in Barcelona as of I think 2 years ago it was. So we were popularized in this way, and then included Ukrainians. Koreans got interested in helping Ukrainians, and the Korean television came, and so now we are also known in Korea. Who would think about that kind of publicity? We were not planning it at all. We have one Russian coming here, who came here from St. Petersburg, and we accepted him. He related very well to Ukrainians, so he was a decent man, intelligent man, and so on. So he asked me if we can help him to get international protection in Croatia. I was having a meeting with the Secretary of State, and I was bringing his case before. And then I learned there is no way that Russians can receive in Croatia international protection. So I said, forget about that, you will not get it. And I learned that there are a number of Russians that are in the center waiting for international protection. So there is a reservation toward Russians. There is huge openness toward Ukrainians without any hesitations. But as far as Russians are concerned, people are reserved in general. We made a policy here, no discussion about the Russian and Ukraine politics and so on, because we wanted people to rest from it, and so on and so forth. And people respected that. Even our local people said, don't go there into that quarrels and so on. Who can understand all what is going on? So our policies, we help anybody who comes, but then who comes, there was a big question about working with Muslims. So are there spies? Am I working with some terrorist? Or now, am I working with some Russian spy and so on? That was a question. But I answered to our government, look, my job is not national security. I'm a pastor. I'm trusting you to do the homework. So anybody who makes a road to us, I know he went through a lot of inspections and so on, I have no problem now always thinking and even not sleeping, is somebody a spy or not? Everybody has to do his own job. So that is, but there are not many Russians, because they know information is circulating. What is the situation? Can we come? No, you can't, because it's very difficult, and so on and so forth. So there are not many Russians here, and I don't know what will be the status of this our friend. Most probably, if it depends about policies, perhaps because he's specialized in some fields, he might get a job or so on, but we don't know. Well, before Schengen, when the Schengen was not applied, there were some flexibility as far, or not defined exactly with the refugees and so on. Now it is very clear. It is a security board, so that it will be even harder. It was hard for refugees. Now it will be even harder. I don't know how it is in Germany, but still in our country, with our policies, there are no defined policies toward refugees. So there is one law that you can legally come and ask for asylum. But if you appeal before the border, you will not be accepted. If you try to run into, you'll be caught and sent back. If you're not caught, but you succeed to get to first police station, then eventually depending on the kindness of policemen, you might be accepted. So this area is not defined, and simply we also don't know how to deal with it. We have cases where people want to come, they want to seek protection. There are genuine people who, based on religious freedom or some political issues, but it's almost impossible to extend to anybody international protection. Well, this house was in ruins. It was an ex-police station before, and then some people, poor people, lived here, gypsies too, and then it was left to nobody. So the homeless were living here, and then later on, those that depended on drugs were here. Prostitution was here, so it was really ruined to the end. So when we received this house to take care of, only walls were left. So we estimated perhaps this will cost us maybe 120,000 euros, and it ended up in 3 times like that. And as we moved, and we didn't have all money at the beginning. I said, just first money needed, let's go, and God will provide. And indeed, through the Baptist Union, Johannes got interested in this, and in this process of reconstructing helped us. We had also some people coming with working here, giving us groups that came here to work with the construction and so on, and so he participated in that. But also because he continued working with the refugees, he was continual help in supporting whatever we did with refugees. Now, last thing was that some people from Germany were deported to Croatia from, I think they are Kurds family, and we connected with the church in Germany, and they took them here, find a house for them, kids to enter the school, help the boys and then to get a job. And at the beginning we helped through Johannes with the finances for 2-3 months of rent, and so help them to move and slowly to take responsibility for themselves. So that's kind of cooperation that we had. That at the beginning it was the construction, because it required a lot of and then as it developed, now it is more into programs, and we are also, as you know, we are starting a German program as well, so that connects us also, and we will have some German helpers to come for a year or so from Germany. So this kind of cooperation will continue, and we look forward to it. How can German people or people from Germany help? There are a number of ways. We would like to create a kind of cross-cultural experiences, so that young people can get in touch with from Germany with the local young people. For example, last year we started so-called Camp on Wheels, where we have a bus, where we have, last year we had Ukrainians, half bus, and Croatians, and they would go and visit Croatia in different places, learn about Croatia, but also come closer to one another, share, become friends, and so on. So this year we will make it also we want to create international community. And then what happens when people travel together 10 days, they really become friends and influence one another. This is very good for local community, for parents look forward to it, but also good experience for people in Germany. We need another thing, and then as we are thinking about entering in the area of education, we would like to introduce foreign languages and foreign culture, because more and more we become multicultural city. We need to prepare for that. So in that way we would need some educators and so on to help in that. So this is more like a personnel to come and help us. Then, well, as far as the finances, we are always thinking about self-sustainable system to develop here. You know, we have a hostel that we can offer people to come, groups and so on. We are thinking about creating a good cafe center here where people can come and, you know, and if somebody wants to invest, for example, in this, it's like we call it social entrepreneurship. And if they want to try themselves there are options here to test it over here. And of course, we would very much appreciate prayers for us. We are not we are not the wisest. God knows the best ways to the community, to human hearts, and we don't want to orientate ourselves purely by the human wisdom. We need God's wisdom, and God's wisdom is granted through prayer of His church, and we appreciate prayers a lot, because that actually makes us moving and going forward. Well, you know, Europe, as also Croatia, is becoming more and more a pagan society. We would need no clue about Christian faith. We must find new ways how to reach people, how to share with them the Christian faith as a way of life. It's not only Sunday worship or some religious experience, it's life. Jesus has come to bring us life. So, and we have to bring life in the name of Jesus to our community. Of course, there is a resistance to faith out of the ignorance, and there will be more and more missionary work and more challenges this. So for us, as also for German church, in front of German church, German Christian, there is a challenge of mission in next decades. And I hope we can fulfill this mission well, so that we can pass on baton to another generation, and that they could sow something, reap something that we sow. I'm orientated by what Jesus said in John's Gospel 4, with the conversation with the lady from Samaria. And he said to disciples, you know, others were laboring and you entered into fruit of their labor. So I want to labor in such a way that the generation that is coming after will come on and reap.
Ich bin Peter Horvath, ich bin 40 Jahre alt, komme aus Kroatien. Ich habe 3 Kinder und eine wunderschöne Frau. Ich arbeite in mehreren Segmenten in meinem Leben. Ich bin ein bisschen Musiker, ein bisschen Kuhfarmer, ein bisschen Unternehmer und ein bisschen Gemeindeleiter. Ich spiele in der Band Oktoberlight. Früher habe ich in einer Band Seekers Planet noch gespielt. Wir sind ab 99 aktiv. Wir waren überall in Europa unterwegs. Schweden, Deutschland, Österreich, nur noch England nicht. Italien, Serbien. Also wir machen christliche Musik mit christlichen Inhalten und es ist eine weise Mission für uns, also nicht nur christliche Events zu spielen oder auch so evangelistische oder Orte, wo sonst Bibel nicht gepredigt wird.
Hello, my name is Evelyn and I'm living in Bushina. I work in a Christian school in Čakovec. I'm mother of 3 sons. I'm also wife, and I also like to work with women in our church. Yeah, and also I vocational teacher in high school. I work with nurses. I'm teaching nurses and caregivers. Jesus said to be a light, so I'm trying to be a light everywhere where I go, especially at school with my students.
Ja, also auf die Frage, wer bin ich und wie kommt es dazu, dass wir hier in so einem Setting sitzen, will ich erstmal einen Dank vorausschicken. Und zwar einen Dank an Thomas Ebinger, an dich natürlich, dass du hier uns ausgewählt hast und diese Region, wenn ich sage uns, dann sage ich das auch stellvertretend für viele Menschen hier in Südosteuropa, schwerpunktmäßig in Kroatien und Bosnien. Und der Dank geht natürlich auch an deine Familie und die Kirchengemeinde und überhaupt den Bezirk, dass es möglich war, dass du hier mit so einer, doch teilweise noch Pioniersituation in vielen Zusammenhängen zum Einsatz kamst. Mein Name ist Johannes Neudeck, ich bin jetzt seit 30 Jahren hier in der Region aktiv, so werden wir es dieses Jahr auch feiern. Wir haben im Zuge einer 3 Jahrzehnte Geschichte zu Beginn auch einen kleinen Verein gegründet, von dem wir dachten, den brauchen wir mal ein paar Monate, weil es einfach, wie sich viele erinnern, damals hier einen kriegerischen Konflikt gab, beziehungsweise einen Krieg, der schwierigste Nachkriegskonflikt in Europa bis dato. Und und ich bin inzwischen durch die Jahre als Familie unterwegs. Ich habe hier mal alleine angefangen, inzwischen glücklich verheiratet mit 3 Kindern. Und freue mich hier immer noch in dieser Region aktiv und im Dienst zu sein. Wie kann man die Arbeit unterstützen? Ich glaube, das ist wie bei fast allen anderen, die auch was tun. Als Christenmenschen sagen wir natürlich im Gebet, da sind wir dankbar.